Welcome into Patriots Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Brett Alper. And no, we don't get to look forward to a game this week. The Patriots have their well-needed bye week, a super late bye week. Week 14 of the NFL, the last possible week you could get a bye. And guess what? This isn't the first time in the last 5 years this has happened. But it's a well-needed bye because the Patriots have a lot of injuries, but I wish that it was a little bit earlier. So before we get into answering all your questions from the Patriots mailbag, from a Patriots fan myself to a Patriots fan just like you, I'll ask you guys, was the NFL screwing over the Patriots with a Week 14 bye? Because I think they were. This is not just a coincidence. I did a video probably months ago, back in May when the schedule came out, that I said, this is not a coincidence. This happens multiple times over and over and over again. So let me know down in the comments section if you think they're screwing over the Pats. Big Daddy Joe, shout out to you, my guy, coming in with a $20 super chat. Can you give me a grade for the Patriots offensive line from Monday? I will give it a B+. So we needed to see Vederian Lowe and Ben Brown on just how they did. And I was watching that left side of the offensive line every single play. I was watching to make sure there was no pressures let up, and I didn't see any. Drake May got sacked 3 times. And one of them, Abdul Carter, he fell on him at the line of scrimmage, and I really don't think that it was. But if Vederian Lowe and Ben Brown can hold off for the next couple of weeks while the Patriots get healthy, while Will Campbell and Jared Wilson get healthy, that's all I'm asking for. But a B+ for Monday. It's going to be a lot tougher in 2 weeks against the Buffalo Bills. Christian! Do you guys love the mechanics videos Mack Hollins posts as much as me? But honestly, how much of a surprise has he been? I love that guy. Look, when we signed Mack Hollins, I was like, oh, look, we got this reject from the Buffalo Bills, the weirdo that doesn't wear shoes, any single person, the man that posts conspiracy theories on Instagram. But he has been a leader for this team. He has been a great teammate for the entire Patriots, and I do love his mechanics. Doing whatever it is when he's like, oh, you got to clean this with your car, you got to do this, that, and this. But more importantly, he has just been an underrated player. The Patriots don't have, I know Stephon Diggs is the wide receiver 1, but every single week, it feels like someone new is leading this team in receiving. 1 week, it's Diggs. 1 week, it's Pop Douglas. 1 week, it's Kayshon Boutte. And we saw Mack Hollins be that deep threat. Drake May throws the perfect deep ball, and it goes right in the bread box. And Mack Hollins had a 100-yard gain at one point. But I really enjoy him, and I'm glad that he is a New England Patriot. And once again, Alper was wrong. Michelle E., shout out to you, Michelle, one of our best mods on here. All of our mods are the best. Your boy Drew, Big Daddy Joe, and Michelle, of course. Double S, I couldn't forget about you. But if CJ Dippre can stay healthy, can he jump up to tight end 2 next year if we don't re-sign Hooper? So CJ Dippre is gigantic, the tight end, undrafted free agent that comes over from Alabama. He did not get drafted. I was really excited to see how CJ Dippre was. I think he's a solid blocker. I really haven't seen him in the passing game much. There isn't much to see from him, but the Patriots did elevate him at one point. He was a healthy scratch on Monday, but he's going to develop. He's from Alabama, SEC football, as I always like to say, and he's got the tangibles to be a great tight end. But usually with tight ends, you kind of see them right away. You see it with Tyler Warren. You see it with Brock Bowers. Hunter Henry's always been a solid tight end. You saw it with Gronk. I would give CJ Dippre a chance to see what he can do later down the season, but I said it earlier, I don't know if Hunter Henry is going to be re-signed. Chowder Chugger. What? Is your worst nightmare still your worst nightmare? Oh, man. So, I mean, if you guys saw it, I've talked about this many times, how Vederian Lowe was the bane of my existence. I actually went crazy last season watching him play left tackle. A guy that comes up from the practice squad at left tackle, but he is the starter because Will Campbell is on IR. He is on injured reserve. Will Campbell's not eligible to come back until week 15. He will be your starting left tackle, not the replacement defensive tackle, starting left tackle. But against the Giants in his first start, he stepped in and stepped up, man. 38 pass blocking snaps, and you could see, did not let up a sack. 0 hits. 3 hurries and 3 pressures. Yeah, Pressures happen. You're not going to be absolutely perfect, but 0 hits and 0 sacks and a 95.8% efficiency and 66 PFF grade, he stepped up. And I will say, Drake May wasn't running for his life. Drake May was not going crazy, getting pressured every single play. And that's the blind side. That's your most important position on the offensive line. And Vederian Lowe did an absolute great job at playing left tackle. Now, he's not Will Campbell. I hope Will Campbell gets back before the playoffs. I saw a report from Albert Breer that said it was a grade 3 MCL sprain, and if it wasn't for the Patriots in the playoff hunt and in a Super Bowl hunt, that he wouldn't play for the rest of the year. But I don't know if I truly trust what Albert Breer says. I haven't heard it from Ian Rappaport. I haven't heard it from Adam Schefter, so I don't know. But I just hope that Will Campbell is back for the playoffs, and I really hope that he is there. If you want Will Campbell to be back for the playoffs, go ahead, hit that thumbs up icon. Shout out to Chowder Chugger for the question. I can't take that name serious. Tasobi, what would be the optimal bye week in the NFL? That's a great question, Tasobi. Shout out to you coming all the way from Germany. The optimal bye week is a week 10, week 11 bye. You want to get that like right before kind of 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, because you play 8 games. You want that to be right in the halfway point, because that's when you start to get tired. You start to get really, really tired. You don't want that week 6 bye that's super early in the NFL season where it's October, and then by the playoff time, you are exhausted. But you also don't want it to be super late, like week 14, when you are exhausted going into the bye week, playing every single week, week in and week out. You have no breaks. So I would like that week 8 to week 10 bye. That would be the primary optimal bye week that I would have in the NFL. And hopefully the Patriots can get it next year, because the Patriots, they never get a single-digit bye week. Randall, if he's available this offseason, should we go after tight end David Njoku to pair with Henry if we lose Austin Hooper? That's a good question. And for David Njoku, the one thing that I want to ask is, how much is he going to get paid? Because I love David Njoku. I've loved him on the Browns. He was a guy that was on my fantasy team. I would pick him every single time in PrizePicks, which will be our ad, which we'll get up to in a second. But how much is he going to cost? The Browns obviously want to get rid of him because they have Harold Vannon Jr., who is a great player. But Njoku still got something left in the tank. He is an absolute behemoth of a monster. If you see him walking into the game sometimes, he's jacked. He is the perfect tight end to go with the opposite of Hunter Henry. I just don't know what his price tag would be. I'm not paying $10 million for David Njoku, but if you can get him for like 7, I'm doing that in an absolute heartbeat. We'll get to your more questions in just a second, but first, I got to tell you about our sponsor of today's show, and that is PrizePicks. It's the holiday season, the best time of the year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes, which we hope New England does. It is happening all at once, and while you and I are out here making decisions every day on what gifts to buy, what to eat, what game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right. PrizePicks. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if your picks are right, you could cash in. And they also have early payouts now, so if your lineup looks good, you can cash out and already collect your money. But how do you play? You got to pick 2 or more players, and it takes 30 seconds, but you don't have to do it in one sport. You could do football, basketball, hockey. It does not matter, even esports. But what you got to do right now is you got to download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. May the force be with you. Thanks to schedule. Would you go after Brandon Aiyuk? So that was kind of I was going to do a video on this because there's been some rumors that came up, and I was looking and I was like, would I do it? I don't know if I truly would. But if you saw Dianna Russini's tweet from a couple weeks ago, and it was basically saying this, that after Brandon Aiyuk failed to attend meetings and declined to participate in 49ers team activities, the team sources say that they're voiding all the guaranteed money in contract for 2026. So basically, they're cutting him. They're saying, screw it, we don't want you anymore. You're going to be off the team. You're going to be a free agent. And you could see right there, amounted to a failure to fulfill his contractual obligations. So he is a free agent. He threw away all that money, that big $100+ million contract, and he said, I'm not going to do it anymore. But now the question is, where could he go? And if you see, in 2023 and 2022, he was an amazing wide receiver. But in 24, he was pretty bad. He only played 7 games. He was hurt half the year, 25 receptions, 374 yards, 15 yards per catch. But for the Patriots, do you want Brandon Aiyuk? He hasn't played in 2025 just yet because he's really hasn't been healthy. And for one, he hasn't looked good. And he's just been a prima donna. He has been that guy that you really don't want on your team. And when you look at the Patriots wide receiver depth chart, I love Diggs. Diggs is going to be here for a long time coming. You do need another wide receiver, though. And Kayshon Boutte's there. Mack Hollins is there. You have Chisholm. Kyle Williams looks like he's starting to pick up the pace and starting to get better. And Demario Douglas is your slot receiver. There's no need for Brandon Aiyuk. And I didn't even put this on there as a graphic, but I don't want Brandon Aiyuk because he rejected us. He totally said that the Patriots were trying to get Brandon Aiyuk in the 2024 season, and he said, I don't want to play for that trash team. I don't know what the quarterback situation is. I don't want to go there. Because the Patriots offered a lot to get Brandon Aiyuk, and he said, I don't want you. So why the hell would we want him? That makes no sense. He can go kick rocks, and we're going to stick with Stefon Diggs, because if we had Brandon Aiyuk, Stefon Diggs wouldn't be a New England Patriot. I don't know if anybody else would, because Brandon Aiyuk has a $120 million contract. If that happened, we wouldn't have all the cap space. So no, I don't want Brandon Aiyuk. You can kiss your prima donna ass goodbye. You didn't want to be a part of this with Drake May? You can suck it and go somewhere else. I don't want you. But I'll ask you, would you sign Brandon Aiyuk? Give me an S for sign or give me a P for pass. I wouldn't do it. I just would not. I would not do it. I would not do it. Big Daddy Joe, what is our biggest obstacle before the playoffs?
I can answer that one. Broncos country.
That is producer Moose, also the host of Broncos Breakdown. And he just does not come to the realization that the Broncos are frauds. That is not the obstacle before the playoffs. It might be the obstacle in the playoffs if they get to the championship game, which I think the Patriots would clearly win because they have no offense. Biggest obstacle is injuries. Injuries. You have to avoid as many injuries as you possibly can. You lost Will Campbell for probably the rest of the regular season. Milton Williams got hurt against the Jets. He's going to be out until Week 17 against the New York Jets. Once again, coincidence? I don't know. But that is the biggest obstacle. You want to stay as healthy as possible. Healthy as possible. Because if you don't, well, if you lose more players, you need Drake May to be healthy. You need Stefon Diggs to be healthy. You need Kayvon Chaisson, Harold Landry, the rest of the offensive line. Be healthy. That's the one thing, the biggest obstacle for the Patriots going into before the playoffs. Great questions, as always. We do this every single week. Wednesdays live at about 5 to 6 Eastern time. So if you don't want to miss out, hit that sub button right now. We're also battling a sub battle with Texans today. They are super close. Don't let them win. Go hit that sub button right now. And as always, let's go Pats.